Hello everyone, it's me Z64 and welcome to the ultimate guide to Resident Evil Blender Renders. And today we are going to be we are done with the RE engine, at least for now. Um, and we are now going to be looking at the MT framework. Oh yeah, isn't that fun? Well, at least the MT framework doesn't have village. Okay, well, how are we going to import these things? Well, I'm going to press N, or you're just going to drag this out. And we are going to install this album beta right here. So, I put the link to this in the description, but what you're going to do here is you're just going to go to code and download the zip. And then we're going to come to edits, preferences, install, and you're just going to install album main. I already have it installed, so let's not worry about that. Boom. We're done. Now you should have album beta on this side. You see, beforehand we would go to file and import to look for to then import our files, but this is different. So now how to get the files you want to import. So I'm gonna go to my Steam library. Oh wow. Wow, look at that. Let's look at, for example, Resident Evil 6. So I'm going to go here, manage. We're going to go to browse local files. And then I am going to go to native PC. We're going to go to ARC and DX9. And here, you're going to have a bunch of archives. This is where all your characters, your maps, your cutscenes are on. Oh, what the hell is Vita? I'll search. I'll look at that later. But let's do it for another game. Resident Evil 5, the greatest game in the franchise. Browse local files. You're going to go to native PC, and you're going to go to image, then archive. And all your stuff is here. Now, me personally, I have this game modded, so we're not gonna use Chris. If I do, you're gonna see John Yakuza himself. Let's look at another MT framework game. Resident Evil 1 Remake. Actually, no, we're gonna use Resident Evil, Revelations 2. No, we're gonna use Resident Evil 1 Remake. So once again, manage, browse local files. You're going to go to native PC. Oh my days. Then it's ARC. And then you just look for your things. Whatever. So in Blender, let's start with importing a character from Resident Evil 5. Yeah, we're not going to use Chris because he's Johnny Yakuza. So, when I add the files, I'm going to copy this directory to our archive folder. We're going to go to the Blender file view and we're going to put it here. And now we are going to just look for something. But how the hell am I going to figure out what's what? Well, just like the RE Engine games, the MT Framework Resident Evil games, at the very least, have arc lists. So now you can check basically freaking everything. And to my knowledge, 5's is the most in-depth. So, just get rid of that. Forget it. We're going to look at the character arc list. So this, unlike other games in the MT framework, I think that 5 is the only Resident Evil game that actually tells you what character is what for these, but don't get used to that. If we look at Resident Evil 0, for example, yeah, nothing's labeled. And if we look at Resident Evil 6, well, oh shit, never mind. Okay, 5 and 6 are the only ones that actually name the characters. But yeah, let's ignore that for now. We are going to import Jill. Yeah, we're gonna get her BSA outfit. We're gonna import Jill. Jill cosplay. I would say cosplay. So it's cost one, her BSAA costume. So we're gonna import that. And you're now gonna see that. Oh wow, there's nothing in the viewport as of current. Well, here's the fix to that. So you're gonna look for. Usually the model files will be in the pawn folder. So you're gonna look for player, and you're just gonna sort of guess. You should usually it's gonna be this number right here, PL02, or in Chris's case, PL00. But sometimes it'll change. So don't always expect it to be here. So we're going to import PL0200 underscore mod. And now, as you can see, we have Jill's model in the, now we have Jill's model. And as you can see, the, armature is a lot less detailed than it's a lot less detailed compared to the RE Engine ones, which is natural because these are much older games on much weaker hardware, so I'm going to quickly change that to a stick. The way they look is fine, though. It's not like RE Engine where it's a mess. So, now we have Jill imported. So let's go into the rendered preview and see what they look like. So I'm going to make a new collection for lights. I'm going to put a lights and point lights right here. I'm going to make it really harsh. Well, not this harsh, like this harsh, which is still very harsh. And there. Now you might notice a few things. Okay, I'm going to bring it closer to Jill. Something like this. Yeah, so it's okay, yeah, let's make it short. You're gonna notice that the shadows look very weird. Like there's no alpha on them. Well, this is a pretty easy fix. And I think this only applies if you're using old EV, as I think modern versions of Album don't have this issue, but if they do, turn on transparent shadows because that should fix it. I think in Cycles this also is not an issue. Yep, as you can see, in Cycles it doesn't really have much of anything messing it up. But I wouldn't use the raw materials in Cycles. So how do we fix this? Well, it's very simple. We're going to go to the checkered cube. We're going to change the shadow mode to alpha hashed or alpha clip or no shadows. But I'm going to keep it at alpha hash, and I'm going to also change the blend mode to alpha hashed as well. And then we are going to make the blend mode here alpha hash, and we're just going to do this for all the materials. We're just going to do this for all the transparent materials, make them alpha hashed. In case I missed any, I don't think I did. Okay, I missed this. Alpha hashed, and this can be okay. Not opaque, but yeah, whatever. Anyways, yeah, looks pretty good. So, let's go into the armature and start posing stuff. So look at that. And look at that. That is a number, just straight up a number. And as you can also see, you notice that the head kind of distorts and becomes blocky and weird and ugly the more you move it. And there is a very, very, very good reason for this, and a very, very, very easy way to fix this problem. But yeah, it does ruin the look of these models, but it is very easy. So first I'm going to touch on how to fix the models looking the way they do when posed. So let's just join Jill's head together. We are going to first We're going to merge everything by distance. And now we are going to shade this smooth. As you can see, yeah, it looks completely busted. Now we're going to press Alt-N. We're going to set this from faces. Boom. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Now we're going to do the same thing for the mouth. We're going to shade smooth. Set from faces. Done. Easy. And now I'm just going to just start selecting stuff. I think you can do it in batch. So I am going to just do a lot of it in batch. Yeah. And hopefully the maybe when I'm done with this, everything should have messed up UVs, which sounds really backwards. Not UVs, shade smooth. Yep. And now we go into edit mode. Then set from faces. Boom. Fixed. Now you won't have that issue with the posing. So now back on topic to the random number names. How do we fix that? So it's actually really easy. We're gonna close this. We're gonna go to Tools in the Album plugin, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna press Auto Rename Bones. We're gonna keep this as body, and boom, we have normal names for everything. Lip upper, jaw. Now there will still be some things that are just numbers, but these are usually just physics bones. So don't worry about those. They don't have to be named really anything. You can rename them if you want, but all you have to do is just press F2. But yeah, whatever. You can rename them if you want. I don't really do that because I don't really care that much. The basic bones that are universal for every character apply and they work just fine. So, you might have already noticed, but there is a pretty distinct lack of. Okay, I'm going to turn off shadows. These models look kind of flat when in game, they don't at all look like that. And, well, that is, wait, hold on, let me turn on the shadows again. And there's a very, very good reason for this. We go into the Shading tab. We're going to go into Material Editor. And we're going to look at the mats. We're going to put this in View Frame All. This is the culprit. You see this? It's a very, very basic, just for previewing mods type shader. For renders, you can very well use it, but it doesn't really look all that great, at least to me. So, we're going to delete that, and we're going to add our own principled BSDF. Now, what are these textures? Now, these should be pretty self-explanatory. The BM is your base color. The NM is your normal color, but it's pink, which is interesting. I'll explain that later. And the MM, which is your specular color. It's really simple, and this applies to every MT Framework game. Like, newer ones like 6, Revelations 2, Zero HD will have different things. They'll have different setups. They'll have extra textures on certain materials like hair. But largely, this base map, normal map, and multi-map, I assume that's what it means, or like metallic map. I don't know what the M stands for. These are all in every MT Framework game, I'm sure. So, we're going to plug in the base color to the base color, obviously. The specular color will go here. But we are going to change the color space from sRGB to non-color. So now, hold on, let me turn on my compositor. when we get lights, specular reflection should be a little bit more visible, but as you can see, it's pretty weak. So I'll fix that later. And then the normal map. Why is it pink, you might be asking? And if we put it in the normal map directly, you can see Jill looks wrong. Here's what it looks like without and with. Without, with. Yeah. How do we fix that? So it's really easy. We're going to use a separate XYZ node. And we're going to use a combine XYZ node. We're going to plug in the Y, and we're going to plug in the Y from the normal map, and the alpha channel will go into the X. And then the Z will be 1. And boom, you have your normal map. We plug it in, the surface. Now it looks like your typical normal map. And now, if you want the specular to be more displayed, we're going to add a math node, change it from add to multiply. We're going to multiply it to, say, 5 or 10 or 20, 25. I'll put it at 10. Anyways, from here, I can change the roughness. I don't like leaving it too low. I don't like leaving it too high. I think 0.5 is good for most instances. But yeah. Now we can just put this in a... Now we can just put this in a... Hold on, let me just select the alpha. Boom. Now we can put this in a node group. Control G. And boom. All we have to do is now change the names. BM alpha, NM red, NM X value or NMY value. Value is just going to be NM. There, and we're going to change this to a color. It's going to be black. We're going to change this to a color. It's going to be pink. So we're going to go to the RGB. Red will be 1. Green will be 1. No, green will be 0.5. 1 blue will be 1. Green will be 0.5. NMX will be 0.5 as the default, and the minimum and maximum. Make it 0 and 1. We don't need to change this. The BM will be white. And boom. Now we have, we'll call it MTF quick. Oh my gosh, my freaking Q key. Oh my days, work. Jeez. There. Now we have a material that we can now, we'll add a roughness, we'll add a metallic, and then we'll add a specular value. Call it metal, rough, and boom. Quick and dirty MT framework shader. So, how do you pose this? Very, 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 very simple. But you might be thinking, Z64, isn't there more detailed face models than this? Well, yes, absolutely. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually hide this, and I'm going to have a new collection. We're going to call this one Jill. We're going to still import from Resident Evil 5, but now we're going to check the RE5 arc list for another character. Let's use Jill's battles. Actually, no. Let's use Wesker as an example. So we'll use UPLO. Okay, just search up Wesker. Just search up Wesker. Way easier. I'm going to call this Albert. So we're going to use, you can choose between EM and PL. Because Wesker is a boss fight in 5, you can look from here. But then again, if you want his boss fight model, you're going to have to search EM80 or EM81 or 82. We're not looking for his enemy model. This is, I believe, what is used in the Mercenaries mode. I don't think it matters much, though. So we're just going to look for... You're just going to check all the PL folders and just look until you see an archive. There's no real consistent thing to it. But yeah, as you can see, we have Wesker's face. And compare it to Jill, her armature. There's less bones, particularly around the mouth, than there were with Jill. So yeah, considering that Albert, oh my gosh, I'm actually calling him Albert, but considering that Wesker does speak quite a bit in 5 in cutscenes, um, let's change that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to auto rename these bones, and then everything from the head, so everything that is connected to the head bone, we are going to delete. We're going to grab all of them. We're going to just delete all the bones. And then we're going to do the same for all the head models. We're going to delete anything that's left. Just get rid of them. You might be wondering, Z64, what the hell are you planning? Well, you'll see. If we go to the event folder of RE5's arc folder, you'll see all these EL, EV, PL thingy whatevers. Here's the interesting thing about these. I don't know which one's which besides Chris and Sheva. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna look for a cutscene that your character was in, if your character is in Chris and Sheva. In our case, it's Wesker. So we're gonna look for stage 4-1 Wesker's return, EV614. So we're gonna import EV614. EV614. And now we're gonna look for pawn, event model, So you're not going to check pawn, you're going to check events, and then you're just going to look for EVF. That is the name of the event faces. You're just going to have to guess which one is which. Oh shit. That's nice, isn't it? This is face animation. So, oh boy. Pawn EM. I don't know if I'm ever going to find this shit. Wait. Model. Wait, there it is. Now you get EVF00. And now we have Wesker's cutscene model imported. And as you can tell, it is a considerably more detailed than his model than his gameplay model that we just deleted. So now we're going to delete the neck bones. So wait, don't do it first. First, we're going to go back to auto rename bones, but don't press it immediately. We're going to change body to head, and then we auto rename bones. Now we have accurate names for all the facial bones. So we're going to delete everything from the neck down. The rest, we're going to go into edit mode, delete bones. And now we are going to parent this. We're going to join it together, actually. We're going to press Control J. And now we are going to go into edit mode. We're going to go to the bone settings, and we're going to parent this to the neck bone. And now this will move. It'll move the armature, but we need to still apply the face. So I'm going to hide. Actually, no, because the models themselves are named after the thing they were imported from. So it is really easy to just Select the armature, select the models from EVF0500, and we're going to just set parent to armature to form. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move the head. That easy. It's really that easy. Oh, and as for the hair and eyes, because at the end of the day, this Wesker still has no eyes. So what's the deal with that? Well, what do you think these are for? So EVF01 is for the hair. I don't know where this shit comes from, but still, we're going to delete it for now. Well, actually, no, we're not going to, because it's Aura. Wait, what? This shit again. If that happens to you, really, 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 really easy. Select it all. Actually, we're going to go to PL1500 and we're going to do, and you're going to have to just delete this right here with every model, but it's long. Takes a long time. So instead, I'm just going to Control J and just delete it from everything. Makes this a hell of a lot easier. I don't even know what this model was. A bunch of filler. There's a lot of models like that in RB5. Um, but yeah, you could do this. You could also choose not to. I personally wouldn't for everything. Like for the eyes and the eyebrows, I wouldn't do it like that, but still. We're actually just going to delete this stuff and then go back to this EVF01 and yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to change this to auto rename Bone's head, and we're not even going to put these back. We're just going to delete, and we are going to EVF01, and we're just going to copy, 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 copy armature to form this. Well, I saw somewhere auto head and cheekbone upper. I don't know what the deal with that is. I really hope I didn't mess something up, but I don't think I did. Move the head. Where's the head model? Where's the head? Where is the head? Where is the head? Oh yeah, look at that. Easy peasy. Huh. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you. Here I am offering my precious time, and you waste it by running around. Hmm. Anyways, yeah, Wesker is still missing his eyes. So how are we gonna fix that? Once again, it is incredibly easy. Now hold on, let me just double check. We do have eye bones, which is great, actually. This makes our lives even easier. Oh, what the hell? Why are we in DAS? Album beta, we're gonna look for EVF03. So the 03 models are your eye models, evidently. And I guess the only reason Wesker's eyes are like this is because you don't see them often. Like, yeah, you see them sometimes, like specifically during the final battle with Wesker when he's like the weird Ouroboros mutant. I'm just gonna change the blend modes and the shadow modes of these so that I don't have to look at what I'm looking at right now. Because I'm telling you, it is really, really unflattering. And the worst part about this shit is that I have to look for every match. Yeah. Opaque. And shadow mode will be none for this. I'm gonna change it to alpha blend because this is a. I don't know why it's white, but you can always alter that in materials. Alpha clip. I'm gonna change this to hashed. The shadow mode is gonna be nothing. Not everything has to be though. Just look for maps that look transparent, like there's nothing there. Shadow mode should be hashed or blended. It doesn't matter. Blended mode will be hashed. I think in Blender EV in modern Blender, album should handle this like not Blender 5. It should be dithered by default because alpha clip and hash are kind of like one in the same. And I don't want to say that they're the same thing. Obviously, they're not. Alpha hash is like dithered hair, kind of like in modern games. Anyways, I'm going to go to QSAT value. Just gonna crank the value all the way down to 0. And this isn't just something you do on eyeshadow meshes, which are pretty uncommon to my memory. Anyways, I'm going to auto rename the bones head, delete this, and now add these. Control P, parent them, and then you might be wondering where's his glasses. That's EVF0504. Except where the hell are they? Now they're right here. For this, I'm going to guess. Copy location, PL15 home mod, head. Don't count on that. But, doesn't matter, man. It works. Location. It works. I'm going to change to material previous. I don't have to deal with eyes. Oh yeah, by the way, on a lot of materials, they'll look like this. Please change everything to not alpha hashed. I'm going to make this a blend material. I'm going to backface cull it because sometimes they have alpha channels that aren't really reflected if you use alpha clip. But clipping isn't really a thing. Alpha clip isn't really a thing in Blender 5, I don't think. Anyways, alpha blend the shadow mode should be hashed. I'm going to put the light up here. Yep, that's pretty good to me. Alright, it's looking good. Except that's weird. But just use the MTF, except this right here. This is weird. But the solution to that is just using the MTF quick thing that I conjured up real fast. That's the fastest way. It's easy, it's quick, and you get decent results. So yeah, would you look at that? Now we have an Albert Wesker model. I don't believe I parented, but yeah, let me just double check. I don't know what 1 is. 0, 1. I'm going to assume that is the head bone, and this is the neck. And now the very easiest thing I could possibly do, well, you don't actually have to parent this to PL1500, but if you want to, what you're going to do is you're going to apply the location, and then you're just going to parent. But I'm not going to do that because I don't really feel like it's worth it. But don't just copy the location, because when we use head, look at that, it doesn't rotate with it. Now, here's where I'm kind of worried. That's what I was expecting to happen. Mix should be add. It should not. Offsets, legacy, after original. We're going to have an offset. I don't know if this is in modern Blender. I'm going to rotate this by 90 degrees. Actually, I'm not going to. So we're gonna like bring this back. Wait, no, we are not. We're gonna go back to PL 1500, and we are just going to take this and use this as a. And then we're gonna have our 90-degree offset. And now, when we pose it, it should be just fine. Yeah, you see that? There we go. And once again, shade smooth, set from faces. It's that simple, but I didn't merge anything. You gotta merge stuff when there's like multiple different models that aren't connected or merged. Otherwise, you're gonna get this weird effect. And like, if you like it, once again, I'm just saying this is not what it's not the intended result. Well, I had RE0 and RE6 loaded up. So what's so different with these guys? Well, there isn't really much different. So I'm gonna delete Albert. I'm not gonna delete Albert. I'm just gonna hide Albert. So I'm going to import a character from Resident Evil 6 because RE6 characters kind of have a certain quirk to them. Now, if we go to RE6, let's import hmm, let's import Helena. Her we'll import her USA outfit. So I already have the folder, it's DX9. This is Rev 2. This is Revelations 1, but I have the game uninstalled, so it's not showing. This right here is 5. This is, yeah, you can tell. This is RE0. This is just my mods folder. It's in my RE4 remake folder, but just ignore that. Anyways, we are going to search up Helena. I'm going to import Helena USA. We're going to go to Data, Chara, PL, PL01, Model, PL01, 100 Mod. We're going to make a new collection. We're going to import that collection. And you might notice she literally has no textures. You go to the blender material, there's no material. None of these things have any materials, and there is a very specific reason for that. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to remove all of this stuff, actually. And now we're going to now we're going to research Helena. Now you see this? This UPL01, this UPL01, that's going to be what we're looking for. So we're going to look for text. UPL text, and we're going to take everything that has 01 in it, just in case. Well, not 0110. We'll actually, just in case, we'll have 0110. You never know at the end of the day. So yeah, now I'm going to go back, and we're going to search up Helena. Helena USA. And now we're going to import her. Hopefully, I got the right text files. Oh yeah, I definitely did. Boom. Now she's importing with textures. So yeah, that's the thing with Resident Evil 6. Every time you import a model, you have to import the texture files before you actually import the archive, or else you will not load the model with materials. Even if you load the texture files in, even if you load the texture archives in after the fact, it won't work. You have to re-import this. So yeah, we have our PL00 mod. Now I'm going to look for Helena again and get the head model. We're going to get head Helena USA. And AC head Helena USA. We're going to add both of these. So this model right here, let me just PL0100, PL0103. Yeah, as I import it, you probably already noticed it in Helena's other model, but yeah, there is LODs here. So just delete these as LOD files. They're not LOD files, they're shadow files, I forgot, sorry. But yeah, you can just get rid of these things. You don't need them. And you might notice that Helena's hair looks very, very checkerboardy. Very, very, very simple explanation. All it is the backface color. Fixes the issue completely. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the blend mode to alpha hashed and also alpha hashed here. And there's multiple hair UVs per character, so I'd suggest checking everything. Add clip. We're going to change this to hash, shadow mode hashed. If it's not doing that, it's probably because of the shadows on the lights. You can fix that by, well, not having any shadows, but then again, now you have no shadows, so an unfair trade-off. This is what the hell? Not what I was expecting. Wait, wrong armature. I'm sorry. I forgot. Yeah, anyways, I'd say the gameplay models are perfectly usable, at least for the characters. But if you want the cutscene models, I'm not 1,000% sure about this, but I'm gonna make a new folder, scene collection. This is where the AC head Helena comes in, I believe. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. And as you can tell, there's three different models all at once. But here's the issue. They don't import with, they import with materials, but these are the materials in question. Now, I could probably just copy paste them over from RE6. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm just going to call this head, like a normal name. And then we're going to search for head. Easy. And now you just have to reassign the materials on every single model. From the gameplay head to the cutscene head. And this is going to get annoying. Really annoying. Really fast. And it sucks. I know. But it's something. If you want higher quality facial rigs, which I honestly can't tell the difference. Oh wait, okay, yeah, they are more detailed. So yeah, if you want slightly more detailed facial rigs, here you go to the AC rigs and boom, they got you. But this is just if you want the cutscene heads. Personally, I'd say save the cutscene heads for like when you really, really need extra detail. Because I think personally, okay, on second thought, yeah, never mind. Yeah, you'd probably need cutscene heads for actual good facial emotion. Because, yeah, this is not going to cut it. It's fine, but certainly not good enough. Anyways, on the topic of the hair, you might be wondering, how the hell will I make it look good? Oh my gosh. Yeah, let me change the shadow mode to hashed and alpha hashed. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the shadow bias to 1 and then turn on contact shadows. You never need to do this in modern Blender. This is gone ever since 4.2, thank goodness. I hate this thing. I hate I hate contact shadows because they look like shit. But yeah, we're gonna add this back. Actually, you know what? Instead, I'm just gonna turn off my shadows. I don't really think there's much of a need for shadows. But yeah, we'll bring this in, put in our normal, put in our specular, so not in the roughness. Put in our face BM. Yeah, I'll copy that over. And boom, we have Helena's head in game. Shade smooth, saffron faces. And yeah, it's really that simple. I'm basically done with the body. Like I'm basically done with explaining. But in modern RE game, modern MC Framer games. Oh my gosh, I freaking choked there. Yeah, in modern MC Framer games. Okay, let me just quickly address this. You see this right here? These are just hand models for the game. The game switches between them at multiple points. You're just going to look for Helena, and you're going to look for the character you named, and we use USA. We're just going to look for hand left and hand right. I'm not going to put them on, because I don't really care that much. I'm not going to be using this anymore. But yeah, you just import them, and then you append them. Hold on. I'm going to rename the bones. We're going to auto rename bones. We're going to change the body. Auto rename the bones, and you're going to look for hand R or CTR hand R. But I'd say no. Put them to CTR hand R, and then after that, you delete hand R, and then you just, yeah, whatever. We're done with Helena for now, but from RE6 onwards, with the exception of, like, I think Revelations 1, each MT Framer game has extra in the hair. So, for example, we have a base map, we have a specular map, but you see that, all this stuff at the bottom? You have this thing I do not know how to use. You have this thing I also don't really know how to properly use, and you have the shift map. But instead of showcasing this with Helena, we're going to showcase this with um, let's use Revelations 2. And before that, I'm going to just delete the rest of this. I'm going to go to DX9 next. I'm going to search for... Okay, so we're just going to look for a character. We're going to look for... We're going to look for this, 2250. 2250 head. And now we're going to import this. Data, Chara, player, PO 2200, normal. I don't know what the difference between this and the N is. Usually, from my knowledge, never mind. Let me just double check if there's anything here. No. Just check every folder until you see a mod. And yeah, just like RE0, not 0, RE6, just like RE6, there's a big LOD model. Just delete that. We're gonna quickly make Claire's face not look cursed. Shade smooth. Set from faces. That easy. And now the same thing goes for the hair. We're gonna alpha hash it. Shadow mode none. Alpha hash. And shadow mode hash. But this time backtrace culling is on. And we're gonna change the shadow mode of the other one to hashed. And now we're gonna actually turn on shadows because I think it's worth it here. This kind of looks like that one Silent Hill 3 video. This kind of looks like that one part in Silent Hill 3. I've never played that game. I'm a LARPer, but from I've seen a clip. I've seen clips. The only Silent Hill game I've played for more than an hour was Silent Hill 2 and like Silent Hill F. And I'm talking about like the original. I'm going on a side tangent. Whatever. Let's quickly set this up. Oh yeah, in RE0's case, there's gonna be a skin texture, like a normal, like a detail map that has like a skin texture, which is interesting because they gave so much love to the remaster of Resident Evil Zero, but like RE1R basically just uses the same textures. No, well it doesn't, but like it feels like that almost. There's no extra flair to it. It's just bog standard be MTF quick. Oh wow, yeah, this shit got spec failure to like something like this too. One. Yeah. That's more nice. Anyways, how are we going to deal with the let's use the other hair material. How are we going to deal with the hair? So let's get into principal BSDF node. So in Revelations 2 is the only MT framework game I believe with an isotropy on the hair that has normals on the hair because RE6 and RE0 remaster don't. But we're gonna take this normal. We're gonna have separate color. You can have a separate color. I'm gonna use separate XYZ. Combine XYZ. Y. Z is 1 and alpha is X. You could also put the Z in. You can also put the Z from the texture in. Actually, no. Hold on. Yes, you could. But yeah, normal map because the X value of the normal texture and also the Y value are the freaking same. So yeah, you can use the Z of the base color of the color texture, but I would advise against it. Anyways, let's just put in our base textures. Now we have our base map. You put the alpha in, of course. And now we have our specular map. We're going to non-color this. Put this in the color. This is our IOR. And now we're going to bring back the tried and true tangent UV map. Mixed color. We're not going to have a mixed color. I mean, vector math. Actually, or we can just cross product, search it up. In Blender 5, if you just search up cross product, it'll show the vector math. But yeah, we're going to take this, put this in the other direction. Now we're going to show this through here. We're going to get Fresnel or layer weight. I prefer layer weight. Uh, I personally prefer layer weight. I don't really see. It's the same shit. Really, it does not matter. I have a preference for no good reason. Now we are going to add a math node. Change this to multiply. And now we're going to find that shift texture. We're going to get this right here. We're going to plug this in. And the color space is going to be sRGB, a non-color, of course. And then lastly, we are going to have a add. Actually, are we? And we're going to add the specular on top of that. Or are we? We are not. Don't do that, please. What we are actually going to do is we're going to multiply. And now we are going to copy paste. We're not. But yeah, now we have that set up. I'm going to put another one here, and this will be our control of how strong the spec is. If you want it to be sharper, you can use a color ramp, put that in the middle of the IOR. Because in the case of like Resident Evil 6, the this stuff is kind of sharp. And personally, I'm not a fan of how RE6's hair models look. Like not the actual meshes of themselves, but like the shader that they have. In my opinion, it looks kind of gross. Ugh, it kind of looks like a cartoon. Almost like an anime. But yeah, you can make this about as sharp as you want. You can make it as harsh, as sharp, as detailed, as however you want it to look. I just keep it like this for RE0 and Rev2. You can change the specular tint. You can put the base color in as a specular tint, but I'd add a hue sat value node and make the value of this like 10 or 25 or like 15, like a big value, so you can actually see the specular. So if we copy the setup over to the if we copy the setup over to Helena, let's bring this back to Helena because she doesn't have a normal map. How will this look? So yeah, let's move all this stuff out of the way. Move this here. Base color is going to be this. Alpha is going to be this. Now, I just remove this completely outright. Boom. Now, here's a disadvantage to doing that. First, let me let you see that disadvantage for yourself. So I'm going to add this right here. I'm going to make this like 5, or not 5, like 1. Yeah, looks good to me. And now we're going to look for a shift map. Then boom. Now we can make it like 12. Like not 125. That's way too big. 12. And now we can go to add the ramp. No. We can use a map. We maybe could use a map range, but whatever. I'd rather use a color ramp. Now we're gonna just try to make it sharp because RE6 is weird like that. And yeah. Yeah, this is pretty much how RE6 looks. Not a fan of its specular light, specular on the hair. Uh, we can change the color of this to the color of the hair BM. And then obviously when you make your, okay, I'm going to make this like 125. You can also like change the saturation to be, okay, 125, 25. I'm going to make this value 12 again. But yeah, you can choose to have it like this. 125. And then 125. And then boom. I said bling. And then boom, we have um yeah, we have the hair ready. You can change the saturation of the tints. You can make it the same color as the base mesh. I mean the base color. Or not, up to you. Anyways, I believe I am finished. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you all in episode 6, which I believe will be the last episode. Um, that could change, but I believe episode 6 will be the last of the episodes, and where we will cover stages and animations and both engines, the RE engine and the MT framework.